So a brand new platformer comes out in Astro Bot. Let's take a look at it. And the new releases come out this week of September 3rd, 2024. And if you like the content, please like, share, and subscribe.
The first game on our list is Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. This comes on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Nintendo Switch, and PC. The rating is teen. Content descriptions: crude humor, fantasy violence, language, mild blood. This is an action game which players compete in games of fantasy game of Quidditch. Broom-wielding players can shift between players and positions during each game. One club-wielding defensive position involves tackling opponents or hitting them with the ball. Player health bars deplete after each tackle or hit. Successful hits or tackle result in dizzy, stars, or brief stunning effects. One of the victory celebrations depicts a character hit in the face with a tooth and blood trail flying out of the mouth. Another victory celebration shows characters vomiting. Swear words appear in-game. And the next game on today's list is Age of Mythology Retold. This is on Xbox Series X and PC. The rating is teen. Content descriptions: fantasy violence. This is a real-time strategy game in which players build a civilization to prominence. From a top-down perspective, players collect resources, manage their economy and military growth, and battle rival civilizations. Players command military units and mythological creatures across the battlefield. Battles are mostly distant, with occasional zooming in. Fighting is highlighted by cries of pain and sword-slashing effects. Players use lightning strikes, tornadoes, and earthquakes to destroy buildings and units in God mode. A handful of cutscenes depict monsters impaled by spears. One sequence briefly shows a severed head dropping out of a box. The next game is Astro Bot. This is on PlayStation 5. The rating is everyone 10 and up. Content descriptions: crude humor, and fantasy violence. This is an adventure platformer which players help Astro Bot collect pieces of his crashed up ship from different planets. From a third-person perspective, players traverse themed environments while collecting coins, solving puzzles, and battling enemy robots. Players use punches and spin attacks to defeat robots. Players use cartoony weapons to shoot targets and defeat characters. Combat is frantic, accompanied by cries of pain, large explosions, and screen-shaking effects. In a handful of sequences, players pilot a flying controller and shoot down waves of enemy ships. In some stages, pigeons can be seen leaving several bird droppings. Now let's hit the court in NBA 2K25. This is on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Nintendo Switch, and PC. The rating is everyone. This is a basketball simulation game which players can select teams from real NBA rosters, compete in tournaments, and play through regular seasons. Players can also manage individual franchises and careers of their customized athletes. Now let's take a look at Perennial Order. This is on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC. The rating is teen. Content descriptions: blood and violence. This is an action-adventure game which players assume the role of a knight exploring a world plagued by nature-infested horrors. From a 3-force overhead perspective, players explore the world, interact with characters, complete quests, and battle fantasy creatures and bosses. Players use sword-like stingers to battle enemies in melee-style combat. Battles are highlighted by impact sound, cries of pain, and blood spatter effects. Boss battles depict more prolonged combat against larger enemies. And the last game on today's list with a full description is Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. This is on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC. The rating is mature. Content descriptions: blood and gore, intense violence. This is a third-person shooter which players assume the role of an elite space marine whose unit is tasked with combating an alien invasion. Players use machine guns, axes, explosions, and chainsaw swords to kill hordes of enemies during frantic gunfights and melee-style combat. Battles are highlighted by slow motion effects, screams of pain, and exaggerated splashes of blood that stain the ground and players' bodies. Enemies collapse to the ground or break into body fragments when killed. Some weapons can decapitate or dismember enemies, while others may briefly become lodged in creatures' bodies. Players can also stomp on felled enemies' heads to complete a kill, resulting in decapitation and additional blood effects. And the rest of the games on today's list are also coming out, but no information was available. Please follow Parents Guide to Games on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok, and email any questions at parentsg2g@gmail.com. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe.